Who knows? Anyway, we're here with Sudha Krishna Prabhu, Shrimati Bhakti Lalita Devi here. How they can see you. And other devotees, including Sukhanti Didi.
Haribol!
Haribol! All over the world. All over the world. Okay. Jai Mahaprabhu. This is our beautiful Ditya of Mahaprabhu. Jai Mahaprabhu ki Jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki Jai. Wonderful prasadam. So, my Dandavat Pranam to everyone.
Turn please your telephone to.
So we have some guests today. We're fortunate to be graced by Srimati Bhakti Lalita and Sukhanti Didi came and some other devotees came. So they're having a breakfast, an association, and they just finished songs. And it's very inspiring when you're in association with devotees, enthusiasm immediately growing, the desire to do some service, joy of association. That's why it's impossible to practice spiritual life alone. And, we say Krishna Vande Jagat Guru, means Krishna is the Guru. And Krishna has two expansions. One is himself, we say acharya Vijanyam. And second expansion of Krishna is he's using his pure devotees who fully surrender to him to carry his message to others and inspire others. So, why are we here? Because of Srila Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada, because of our preceptors, give us this opportunity to preach and practice. And that's an incredible opportunity to preach and practice. So sometimes we have a lot of difficulties with our faith, with our life, with our planets. Like there's so many influences in our life. Sometimes people say, well, when somebody's going on spiritual path, all the planets and all the gods become his enemies. Because there were many sages who tried to do some tapasya previously, and some gods like Indra and others thought, well, this guy will rise up to this higher position through his tapasya. He maybe will claim my chair. So it's an interesting way. Even in the material world, there's competition and sense insecurity. But we can see that in real spiritual life, devotee is not trying to claim up to take over, position of Brahma, Shiva or Indra, etc. And the true goal of devotee is to satisfy Lord Krishna and become his Swarup Shakti. Swarup Shakti means energy of Supreme Lord, which is internal energy, pleasure-giving energy to Supreme Lord. That's why in Panchatattva we have Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shivasari, Gaura Bhaktivinoda. So we have Mahaprabhu, who's Supreme Lord himself, Nityananda Prabhu, who's extension of Mahasankarshan, extension of Balaram. We have Advaita, who's extension of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. Gadadhar Pandit, who is representation of Radharani, the internal pleasure potency. And we have Srivasa Thakura, who is extension of devotee. So interesting. Srivasa Thakura is extension of devotee, means Narada Muni. And we can, we're all seeking freedom, we're all seeking, creative opportunity. But when we look at the life of Narada Muni, we can see that he can travel between two worlds. He can easily go to Goloka, come back from Goloka, go to Vaikuntha, come back from Vaikuntha. And really, he's not, he's not involved in any politics. Sometimes in scriptures, we can see that Narada Muni giving advice to Kamsa, or Narada Muni meet with some demons. And you would say, well, why Narada meeting with demons? Narada take charge of Prahlada. Narada has direct connections with Kamsa and telling Kamsa certain things. Or like, how you know which son will kill you? And then Kamsa say, yes, Sage, thank you so much. You give me good advice. I'm going to kill them all. I'm going to kill all the babies. Then somebody can say, well, how dare Narada Muni, why he's giving such bad advice to Kamsa? But really, Narada is not giving bad advice to Kamsa. He's just asking Kamsa, how do you understand which one is Krishna? So Kamsa asked very serious spiritual question, but Narada asked very serious spiritual question, but Kamsa say, okay, thank you very much, Sage. You give me good advice. I'm going to kill everybody. Kamsa didn't give him advice to kill. He's just asking, well, Krishna is supposed to appear amongst all these babies and become cause of your death. But how will you know who is Krishna? That's a very spiritual question. So as you see, although Kamsa traveling between worlds, dealing with demons, is not politicized. He's a very, he's a very pure devotee. So he has like very clear purpose in his life. And sometimes even asking questions, spiritual questions, the demons are still reflecting with their own polluted mind. That means if your mind is polluted, even if you meet pure devotee, even if the pure devotee asks you spiritual question, it will just resonate in your mundane thinking, self-protection, hate, and finally, if Kamsa would be a little bit smarter than what he is, he would say, well, maybe I should surrender to Krishna. Maybe I should ask you, Sage, how to understand who is Krishna or not. So there's a great opportunity for us when we have association of devotee. It's number one, by surrender to devotee, inquiring questions. And second part, we're all seeking for love, freedom, liberation. But if we look at the activity of Narada Muni, we can understand he's completely free. He's not bound by material conditions. He's not bound by politics. He can be beneficial even to demons. He a great Vaishnava. He has no discrimination. And at the same time, he's very kind to Prahlada Maharaj. He's a guru of Prahlada Maharaj. He's a guru of Veda Vyas. He is, incredible devotee, which means jiva. And he has that freedom that we're all seeking because he's not conditioned by material world or spiritual world. Whatever need for the service, he's there. So just in Panchatattva, Narada Muni comes as Srivasa Thakura. And, Srivasa Thakura appeared to be a family man with family. Remember, in original form, Narada got cursed by Brahma. Oh, because you want to become brahmacharya, you will not be able to marry. But interestingly, in gaura-lila, when Krishna came as Mahaprabhu, Narada become Srivasa Thakura, and Narada has very good friend, Narada Muni, his friend Bharat Muni. So Bharat Muni is also great liberated soul, and he's become his brother. Actually, Srivasa Thakura has 5 brothers, but Srivasa Thakura, Sri Ram Thakura, they're mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita and other books. So Narada become a liberated soul, born in gaura-lila, But in gaura-lila, he's not acting like Narada, he's not flying around. In fact, he is Grihastha Vaishnava. And as Grihastha Vaishnava has family, he even has a son. So, but his house, Srivasangam, is the place where Mahaprabhu come and chant. And you can say, well, why is that Srivasangam is such an important place? One time when Narada Muni, in the form of Srivasa Thakura, hosting Mahaprabhu Kirtan with devotees, he feel that Mahaprabhu has no ras, no heart flow. So he's searching why. And then he discovered one of his female relatives, elder lady, hiding in a room because she wants to sneak for that kirtan. And as soon as he kick her out, the divine flow start going. Number one, you think like, if you and I hide in Srivasa Thakura house, would Mahaprabhu feel satisfied Krishna consciousness? Of course not. So Srivasangam is a place where pure devotion can be expressed. And even certain family members, and of course it's Lila, were not qualified. That means, although Narada Muni appeared in this Lila as a family man and very detached man, and his family, was fortunate souls because they're fortunate to be related with him, but not all of members of his family were qualified to participate in that kirtan. But when one time during kirtan, Srivasa Thakura's son died, women start weeping and they, go crazy because he was a little sick and then he died during the kirtan. Then Mahaprabhu, understanding something wrong, stopped singing and he started asking Srivas, what happened? And Srivas say, oh, no problem. You chant, don't worry. But Mahaprabhu realized that something very wrong happened today at the kirtan. And Srivas revealed, yes, my son just died. Then Mahaprabhu said, bring that body back. So they brought body in the room of the son. And Mahaprabhu asked question of that son. Speak. And the dead body, that son started speaking. And he said, I'm so fortunate to be able to born in Srivasa Thakura family and have your darshan connection with you. Now my material time is over and I left the world. And then everybody pacified. Everybody understood. Okay, he's our child, he's our son, but it is fortune of his to be connected with Mahaprabhu, and by Mahaprabhu will, he's coming to the higher plane. So even things like personal family matters were not so much obstacle of Srivasa Thakura. And he showed that pure devotee of Krishna, even if he in gaura-lila, even he's family man, even if he live in relatives, if he converts his house into Shiva Sangha, means a place where he worship Tulsi, Krishna, where he expressed devotees, neither his relatives, neither external environment will disturb him. This is very important for us because sometimes we think, oh, I cannot practice because of my relatives. Oh, I cannot practice Krishna consciousness because external environment, because war, or because economy, because this, that. Actually, this is all irrelevant. If we surrender to Krishna and Vaishnavas and we offer ourselves to them, even external environments which we live in will not disturb us. In fact, they just might help us. Just like when Srivasa Thakura's son died during the kirtan, first of all, due to material senses, everybody had grief and attachment. But when Mahaprabhu revealed the true nature of soul and his fortune, then, of course, everybody were pacified, satisfied, and realized, okay, this is not some material circumstance. In fact, this is very auspicious circumstance because we're all coming to this world particular time, and we're all leaving this world particular time according to our karma. But the fact is that all of us got connection with Krishna consciousness, even the small one, smallest. Like, we may not be perfect, we may not, follow everything, we may not understand everything, but our smallest connections with Krishna consciousness is so important. That's why Narada Muni was asked how you become such a great devotee. And he told, millions of lives ago, I started my spiritual path. And he told the story how he met with devotees, how he took remnants of prasadam when he was a child, and how after his mother's death, he left his house and started practicing life. And he said, and after millions of lives, here I am. So just like us, every one of us has this connection in this life, and we're very fortunate. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to ask. I'd be happy to answer. Try to answer. Nadia, any questions or comments?
No, in chat box we don't have, but I hope we have live questions.
Yeah, because I need feedback.
Hare Krishna, and thank you very, very much for today. I have studied something about Prahlada Maharaj, who was very, very, very good devotee to Lord Vishnu. But just because he was very, very into his devotional service to Lord Vishnu, he forgot to show respect to a rishi, but he got cursed because of it. Shouldn't his devotional activity, devotional practice be enough of protection for him so that no one can curse him? He got cursed that he will forget Vishnu and be killed by Vishnu.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. Very good. See, sometimes we think on spiritual path, we are fully protected. That's true. But our biggest enemy is our ego. And sometimes Supreme Lord showing us how we're supposed to behave with devotees by showing us even the great devotees may not be free from service of Vaishnava and Vaishnava respect. That means if we do Vaishnava aparat, we don't properly respect, especially higher Vaishnava, what to speak about, Guru, higher Vaishnava, that can destroy our spiritual life. I'm not sure exactly which Prahlad pastimes you're talking about, because there are many different pastimes mentioned in different Puranas. So I'm not referring specifically to the story, but what we know is even when we look at the Krishna Lila, we see all these demons at certain part of their life were some great exalted souls on heavenly planets, and they behave improperly with sages, and they got cursed by sages and they become demons. But because sages was very merciful, they addressed sages and said, okay, you're cursing me to become a demon, but you're very kind and merciful. So the sage said, yes, but after you become demon, Krishna will kill you and you become liberated. That means Krishna will kill demon within you. Remember, every demon represents certain sin. And every demon, that's why it's important for us to hear stories about Krishna pastimes, especially with demons. Or Mahaprabhu pastimes, where Mahaprabhu liberates some sinners. Because by hearing those pastimes, the sins that we have in our heart will be also minimized. And more faith we have, more hearing we have, that pastimes capable to destroy sins in our heart. So that's the power of hearing of Krishna Lila or gaura-lila. Even that story that you told me from Prahlada Maharaj, which I'm not 100% familiar with, also give you something, oh, wow, interesting. So that means even somebody like a great sage need to pay attention to his behavior and dealings with devotees. What about us? We're not on that level still. We need to be humble, sincere, and like I suffer with my ego so much from non-proper treatment of devotees, and I realize that. So that's why we say every day, dear devotees, please accept my dandavats, forgive my offenses. Because sometimes even if we don't say somebody hello or Hare Krishna, or they don't pay attention to us, we may offend somebody. That's the quality of people. They may not be happy if, oh, why you didn't say hello? Why you didn't see me? Why you didn't notice my service? Why you didn't, you promised me something, you didn't do it. So that's the human nature. And of course, from another point of view, we understand the real devotees, very merciful, very kind, and they're not like cursing us. In fact, they're tolerating us like mother, mother and father. They tolerate us, tolerate our activities, tolerate our mistakes. We may, address them improperly, but they're not trying to, deal with us based on reaction on our offenses. So that's why real devotees, they don't take offenses, because they know, if I start taking offenses of others, others will suffer, and I become a source of their suffering. But in conditions where needed, they may display their power. So it's a very good question what you ask, very serious question, and just leading us to think that we have to be very careful, very cautious, and therefore everything is in scriptures, because it's a very straightforward path, devotion, but there are some technicality here, and we're not exempt from that. By the way, you have beautiful view on your background, very nice, beautiful view, and very peaceful. So that means whatever the environment we have is friendly to us. Even, when devotees do something, maybe ask us to do some service or treat us according to our feeling not so good, we should think, okay, maybe this devotee is not so, treat me not so good, but I will not take any offense. I will not try, I'll try to fix my relationship with them. But anyway, I realize about myself is, my big ego damage so many good things in me. And, because when you become a leader, when you become, in a position, normally your ego is growing. And sometimes you just don't notice that, because, you think you're perfect and everybody else not. But, then Krishna give you a lesson, and Krishna teach you, even if you're guru, even if you're a senior devotee. So, Krishna does not like us going into mood of the Lord. He wants us to stay in the mood of servant. He is the gracious Lord. We're the servants. So don't think, only in the scriptures Krishna will punish. Krishna will punish you, me, everybody, for our own benefit, for our own good. And I'm been punished by Krishna more than once, and still, Krishna's punished me. But I also realize, although Krishna punished me many times, my punishment was very sweet. It was not like, Krishna destroyed me or he made my life horrible. No, Krishna punished me very nicely. And I'm thinking, actually, for what I deserve, Krishna's been so kind to me. And I understand, even if Krishna punishes you for some way, you have to look from that point of view that he's merciful Lord, and his punishment is also mercy and love. So when some devotee would go crazy or go wrong in our mission, Srila Govinda Maharaj would just call him up and say, hey, come and stay with me in India. Think of this. You're doing something weird, especially if you're leader, big ego, big problem, but Govinda Maharaj is telling, okay, you come and stay with me. That's your punishment. So think of this, how wonderful punishment Govinda Maharaj would do. All right, so you're going a little crazy, you got a little bit ego, you become a big man. All right, come and stay with me. See how I do. I'm a big man, I'm a big guru, but I will show you real humility. I show you how humble I am. And people normally, when they get that kind of treatment, they do better. So normally when you treat people better than what they are, they start doing better. I mean, see, out of ego, we're trying to highlight imperfections in people. But that was not Govinda Maharaj's medicine. Govinda Maharaj's medicine, okay, this person may, arrogant or does things, but, he's a devotee, he's trying. So let me give him my association and he will learn something from me. So that was the Govinda Maharaj's style, which I can never forget in my life. I've never seen anybody like that. And that's unique position of Srila Govinda Maharaj, because anybody would meet with Govinda Maharaj, he would understand. No, Govinda Maharaj is not just some theoretical person who speak out of book. There's many people do that. And, they can do better than Govinda Maharaj, better than all of us, because, they've learned people and they have talent and skills. But the difference in Govinda Maharaj's life was that he was realized soul, not, we cannot really understand the high level of his Krishna consciousness, but what we could understand is he's dealing with environment and others. That was a pure display of high level Krishna consciousness. What was his there in his heart, what was his spiritual sentiment, we cannot fully say. Sometimes he would sing the song or read Garga Samhita or speak certain things from Bhagavad, and then he would realize nobody understands. He would smile, and people say, well, Gurudev, it's not it's a very high thing. It's Guru Maharaj saying, okay, you don't worry. So sometimes he would go to that deep spiritual sentiment, but he would rely, I'm with a bunch of children. What the children cannot understand, love poetry, they're on their level. So please, any other questions?
Thank you, Maharaj, for your answers. Thank you, Scarlet Bloom, for very beautiful question. So,
Доброго дня. Я задам питання на українській. Надія, приведеш. Ми не можемо імітувати Говінду Махараджа, він великий, відданий, але я хотіла дізнатися, до якої межі потрібно терпіти, адже можуть люди користуватися цим. Як відчути цю межу? Дякую.
So the question from Narayani is Srila Govinda Maharaj is a high Vaishnava and we cannot imitate his behavior. So in our position, where is the border? To which border we can tolerate something because sometimes people are trying to use our tolerance or something like that.
Well, to tell you honestly, I don't know. because it's depending how deep you are, how much love you have for devotees, what is situation, it's not like you're like, hey, I can tolerate any abuse, or no, sometimes you have to be very clear that that devotee doing something wrong, but it doesn't mean that you have to react back and do something bad and have equal reaction. That's not what you do. Again, it's all theoretical, because different devotees have different positions. Let's say Narayani, she's leader, and somebody may not take her seriously, say, why are you telling me to do that? But she's not trying to perceive something or push something for her own interests. She's trying to do this for interest of mission. And some people may say, well, you're not Govinda Maharaj, you're not even Avadhut Maharaj, you're just Narayani. Like, why do I have to follow you? But that's very egocentric question based on self-ego assessment. Because if you think, well, she's trying to put us together, she's trying to organize things. If I follow her advice, or if I help, there'll be great spiritual benefit. Then, so sometimes we go on human level and we start fighting, and, we start showing our ego character, but really it's just showing that we're not really mature, that we're not really ripe fruit. We're a green mango, green mango, also mango, but it's not same taste. So remember, Krishna consciousness is like a fruit on a Vedic tree of life. So think of this, there's a Vedic tree of life, and sometimes it's Vedic tree of life bearing the fruit, and fruit also has different stages. So sometimes that stage green, like they say, Ramachandra came a green color, and somebody say, well, Ramachandra rasa is like mango, but not like a yellow mango. Yellow mango is like Krishna, but Ramachandra is also mango. It's also pastime. There's a lot you can find, because in Thailand, where we are, people happily eating green mango, and they have many dishes made from green mango. It's very, very actually healthy and good for you. So mango is mango, whether it's green or grape. But the taste of mango is what we want to aspire. So there's one story that Srila Guru Maharaj quote many, many times. So there was Persian king. He would send his embassy to India, and his chief ambassador would always come back to him and bring so many gifts, Indian seal, the precious stones. India has many mystical, unique things. And he would also tell them the history from mango. In this country, there's a fruit called mango. It's so sweet, you cannot believe. And because that Persian king was a king, he said, why you never brought it to me? He said, well, take me about, 30 days go by desert. So by the time I keep some mango, we have to eat on the way, because it get raped and it get damaged. I cannot save it. I don't have a refrigerator. That time was not possible. Then this king was very unhappy, and he said, look, you're talking to me about mango, but I'm a king. Whatever I desire has to be given to me. If you don't bring me next time mango, I don't care how you're going to do it. Take the whole tree with you, or whatever you're going to do it. I will just chop your head off. So that minister had to be very creative. So when he come back next time from India, brought many gifts, the king said, have you brought me mango? He said, yes. I brought you something that you can understand what mango is. He took his beard, sucked turmeric and sugar, and he said, suck my beard, and you can understand what mango is. So right now we're kind of in this position. We're trying to suck the beard with the turmeric and sugar and think that's what devotion, that's what Krishna consciousness. So, which means we have our own sense perception, what reality is, and that sense perception is not, always perfect perception, because it's based on our own experience, which we're trying also to bring to others. And based on that experience, we have to deal with others, and that's not entirely, successful. But no matter what, we should try. Anybody else?
Scarlet Bloom, you still have question? Yes. Okay, please. And Pavel, next will be Pavel.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I get to hear so many times in many lectures that we are not the body, we are the soul, and I understand that. At the same time, so there are the conditions we have in physical form, that we have pain, for instance, we have problem with the body. How do you could you please give us the advice? How can I overcome the pain feeling that I get every time because of my condition, my body, and just think, this is not me. I'm not this body. I'm not this body. I'm the soul. I'm not this body. Because I feel pain. I feel hunger. I feel many things. I can't just thinking, just I'm the soul. I'm not the body. I'm the soul. I'm not the body. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I spoke yesterday to a friend of mine who's study yoga with some teacher, who's a very qualified teacher. And I explained to that friend of mine that, if his qualified teacher specialty to, bring health and wellness to life, that is not yoga, that's wellness. So that means you can do certain practices to keep you healthier. In fact, I have the same problem as you are. I have chronic diabetes, I have big pain. I'm thinking how to deal with that. And actually my pain helped me a lot, because I start better diet, I start pranayama, I start certain health procedures. So in my 50s, I feel better in my 40s, because in my 40s, I would not do this. So I thought, well, the pain is a great motivator, because without pain, I do nothing. I'm lazy. Just like no pain, no gain. So number one. Number two, if you feel pain, that you think like, how long can I stay in this material world? How long I can tolerate the bodily pain? Like, is that the material happiness? Because even if the world is going wonderful, but you're in pain, it's still very painful. Remember, when you and I will die, the world is going to go their own way. There'll be people going to stores, there'll be families, people be laughing, even our own relatives, will have a good time. And maybe they say, oh, thanks God, Avadhut Maharaj just died. Thank you. Thank you, Krishna. So, because different expectations. When Srila Govinda Maharaj passed away, some people were expecting, oh, wonderful, I take over Gurudev property temples, but they could not manage them, because they thought, oh, it's a nice skyscraper on the bank of Ganga, and, I'll be happy if I have this in possession. But the end of the story, this wonderful guest house been built by love and affection of devotees. And we all had home in India with Srila Gurudev. So when Gurudev passed away, and some Indians start fighting over the key, we left. because that's not our interest, to fight over the key, because we know this home without love and affection has no meaning. Like, right, you want to come back to your loving home comfort. So that's why many times happiness, like big temple, big ashram, but where guru goes away, there's no one person who's connecting everybody, and that vibe, that mood, the energy is gone. The building remains. There might be deities there might be infrastructure, beautiful nature, but maybe you can rent rooms, to tourists or something like that, but it's not the same. So it's all about love and affection and appreciation. And you can see Govinda Maharaj, his life was very simple. He would just sit down since 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes singing songs, sometimes go to temple, but mainly he would be like sitting and just letting devotees be in his energy, his aura. And sometimes talking some high things, sometimes watching news, because he remember, from 3 o'clock in the morning, you have like 100 people sitting around you. You're like a monkey. You're like a museum, like, you're like you're in a cage. So I never see anybody giving himself to people so like openly, without any private life. Because Govinda Maharaj had barely private life. I think his private life when he was in bathroom or sleeping. Rest of his life, for years and years and years, he was surrounded by devotees and, managing submission and service, and mainly sharing himself, extending himself to, extending himself to devotees, just allow them to be around him. And that's amazing. That's amazing. If we look at the Srila Prabhupada life, he could also like translate books at night. At that time, he would give classes and lectures and meet different people and preach to them. It was even more impressive and more amazing. Or Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, again, like, it's very common, like, as much as like ego I have, I realize like I cannot compare myself to these people. I don't have that quality. I'm sorry, like that's not me. But for some unique reason, I've got an opportunity to be with them and serve them. And I was recognized by them by, okay, you do service. All right, you become Avadhut Maharaj. You try to do this, you try to do that. And that is a great opportunity for us to grow in our spiritual life. So, we need to grow. And whether we're in pain or not in pain, remember, it's like, where would you like to practice Krishna consciousness? Krishna's mother, Yashoda, did in Vrindavan. Krishna's mother, Devaki, did in prison. Like you say, well, I don't really like prison. Yeah, but she had no choice. So she was in prison with her husband, probably like home arrest. I don't know, but still 9 years. And Kamsa also, enslaved and put in prison his own grandfather, his father, Maharaj Ugra Saint. So think of this. You're like Krishna relative, but like you wait your Supreme Lord 9 years in prison. Like that is harsh environment. Thinking like every time my child can be killed, I can be killed at every moment. But it's also give you every moment opportunity to surrender to Krishna. That's like a Krishna consciousness for adults, right? It's not a fairy tale. It's not an Indian fairy tale. It's like try to go to jail and remain Krishna conscious in jail. But if really, by some circumstance, we go to a place like jail or we go to, war or something, we'll see the only chance to surrender to Krishna. And then we think, well, there's people who live a normal life, they're very stupid. They don't surrender to Krishna. So when you're in pain, what else can you do? Yeah, you might take a painkiller, but that's not gonna buy you a ticket. you know, we're not going to be, honestly, like, you know, we're not going to feel a lot better and be younger. We might, through certain alchemical procedures and yoga, straight up my health, and our goal will be like to die healthy, right? You know, like, so one good thing that people do with good health, they die healthier. But you know, the idea that you have to die healthier, it's not a very healthy idea. So we have to merge into Krishna consciousness and become Krishna conscious, and then we have different perspective, like eternal life. What about Mr. Doyle Nitai Das? Hare Krishna Prabhu. Do you have any questions or comments? Would you like to die healthy? Or will you die, or Guru Maharaj said, die to live? That sounds better, right? Die to live is better than die to die. Pavlovich, want to say something?
Yes, Pavel, please.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Maharaj, Dandavat to all devotees assembled here. I would like to ask the question that is kind of related to the previous one. Lately I'm hearing a lot of things and reading a lot of things about sahajism, and I'm hearing a lot of warnings about the danger of sahajism, such as imitation is suicidal and so on and so forth. Yet, not so long ago, probably last week or week before, from one of our devotees, I've heard the explanation of the meaning of the word acharya. Comes from Sanskritan word acha, meaning the one who sets a good example. My question is, where is this fine line between following the great example and sahajism? Where is this dangerous moment when my following and my desire to follow a great example of acharya, guru, other devotees and stuff like that becomes sahajism and imitation? Where is the turning point? I think one is not very far from another, and you have to be very much aware of the danger of jumping and falling from following a good example into let's say mocking up or something like that. Am I making myself clear?
Your question is very painful. You're making an operation.
I feel it. I feel it. It sits in my head for about 2 weeks, right?
Well, remember, because you are a stage director and you know Stanislavski and Chekhov, exactly. then you understand sometimes people play into that role. Like, you know, especially let's say you want to become a king, and they will tell you, you know, you have to act like a king, you have to, you know, dress like a king, you have to behave like a king, and they teach you how to do it. But really, to become a king means to take a charge, responsibility, and that's what makes you a king. Just to dress like a king, you know, doesn't make you king. But sometimes there's a famous film called King Speech, where the King of England could not fully execute his duties because he couldn't properly speak, you know, because the king is technically a figure that's supposed to represent the country. And the way you do it is you're giving a speech. So that king went to, you know, some qualified guru, a doctor, who understood his problems. He didn't look at him as a king. He looked at him as a patient. And he said, I treat many people, soldiers, you know, people that had, you know, problems in their childhood. So, you know, he went deep into his identity and discovered his problems and help him to solve that problems. So that's really the answer for your questions. So it's not about externally become a devotee or externally become, acharya. It's about being able to solve our own problems and help to solving problems to others. And, the problem comes when people have, sahajiya means easy. It's like you want to have a right. You think, oh, it's easy. Raghunath Das Goswami, daily walk around Govardhan Hill, not eating, not sleeping, chanting holy name. But, I exploit Krishna, I exploit devotees, I exploit faith. Many times I felt in my life, oh, I'm just materialist, I'm just, I'm an addressed of sadhu, but I'm not really sadhu. I have many material desires. In fact, I'm not a perfect guy. So if I just, give up imitation and go back to my material life, will I become a better devotee? No. It will not be. Govinda Maharaj give me name and Govinda Maharaj give me position. So he give me something, what I should be, not what I am. So if I just try hard, by blessing of my guru, get to that level, right or wrong, then I'll try to serve my guru. If I just say, hey, like, why you don't become a devotee? I just don't want to become a sahajiya. Because I think, my mind will cheat me, my senses will cheat me. Therefore, I decide to become a good Christian, go once a week to church, give a candle to the God, say goodbye, and, do my own life because I want to be sincere and honest. That's not really sincerity and honesty. That's not a form of hypocrisy that people have, because they say, I'm not practicing spiritual life because I'm not a saint. But if you see, every saint has some troubles and had some, path he has to follow. And sometimes he would fall on that path. So, the importance is not to dilute yourself with the idea you're perfect. See, idea of sahajiya is not just, it's just self-deception where you think, I'm able to do this, sadhana, I'm perfect, I already got it. Like, it's this almost like where in a business book, they tell you, you should have a big plan, but should act as a small shop owner. Because if you're planning to do big business and you don't have a capital, then you're just a dreamer. That's why Govinda Maharaj used to say, if you have $5, do business with $5. If you have $100, do business with $100. Means your idea might be to conquer the world, but if you don't have the resources to conquer the world, then you're just a dreamer. You're just another lunatic. So there's many people, especially you meet many people and they talk about big business economy because they learn from internet, from school, and they appear to be experts. But when really you tell them, like, what's your own capital? I don't have any. Okay, that's possible. Do you have real access to real capital? No, I don't. Then your ideas is dreams. So you might have a big idea, but you have to have access to capital and resources. That's why in spiritual world, there's a capital of Guru and Krishna. And if we will be sincere, we'll be granted opportunity to have connection with the spiritual capital. And then we can deal, otherwise we're just a bunch of dreamers, lunatics, Hare Krishnas with like big eyes talking about Radha Krishna, Mahaprabhu, pastimes, but we have no faith in Guru, we have no faith in Krishna, we have no service life, we have no responsibility. Like when you come to a temple, you see everybody have responsibility. Even you have some responsibility to chant, to participate in games, because as you're becoming devotee means you're taking responsibility. And that is your access to capital. Like, so when you go on the stage, you may not start as a director, maybe assistant, but as you gain more and more trust and experience, and the trust capital as you perform that.
Thank you, Maharaj. I think you answered my question, but if I may, I will just make a little clarification.
Sure.
You use the example of a theater, and it's a great example. And we know, most of us know, that in a theater, sometimes, for example, in Stanislavski system, you go from the substance into the form. So you believe into the suggested circumstances, and then the stronger you believe in the circumstances, the stronger and more convincing your acting is. Yet in a Western system, and in a system that was declared by Michael Chekhov, you go from the external shape into substance. So, for example, if I yank my shoulders like that and I will walk half a day like this, inevitably I will become depressed. If I will, I don't know, well, if I will go with my crooked back like this, after 1 hour or 2 hours of being like this, I will become in bad condition, and vice versa. Sometimes I wake up in some kind of a crappy mood, excuse me my French, and sometimes I'm just putting myself into physical regimen that brings my spirit into, let's say, acceptable conditions, so to speak. Question: is it allowed in our life, in Gaudiya-Vaishnava life, to use a little bit of sahajiism, so to speak, as a tool to get somewhere and then to start over again, to get a bump start, quick start, or something like that, or it is not?
I got you. Well, basically what you're talking about, self-motivation. If you wake up in the morning and you're completely depressed, then you don't want to do anything spiritual or material.
But
so you need to motivate yourself. And here's the way I do it. I can share with you only what I do. Because, lately I have many trouble coming to my life from different points due to my, sinful activities and time to pay tickets. And your horoscope is called Sahajiya, the Saturn. So I'm in a very difficult stage of the Saturn. But remember, Saturn, like Bhakti Lalita, also has big Saturn, but she's fine because Saturn, she's a very pure female spiritual practitioner. She only lives spiritual life. So Saturn does not attack her so much. But because I do other things besides just spiritual things, I kind of have to pay my tickets. Because it's all depending how you're driving. So sometimes I have like really bad motivation with my health, with my self-exemptions. I think like I'm not qualified to be guru. I don't feel good. My health is not taken care of. My other relationship with certain people, horrible. Like every human being, I would say, have sometimes this. But how do I motivate myself? I wake up, I plug in some Harikatha and I start listening. And by listening this Mahaprabhu, Krishna, whatever, some inspiring Harikatha, Guru song or something, Bhagavad Gita, I start tuning myself into different moods. So it's called self-adjustment. And sometimes it works, sometimes work better, sometimes work worse. And then let's say I go online and I give class. And after class, I think I'm alive back. That's why those classes for me are more important than maybe for everybody else, because, people listening to me for like sometimes 50 minutes, 1 hour, and they're like, hey, they get benefit, I get benefit. It's not like, oh, I'm a doctor to cure everybody. I'm here to cure myself and to share with others. Just like, I'm being sincere with you and you're being sincere with me. So that kind of self-motivation acceptable. But if you just like wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm a gopi who love Krishna, or like, I am a great sage. Like today I start my day like a Narada. Let me fly from my balcony. You may not, you may fly, but you may not land. So you know what I'm trying to say. So sahajiya means to start over exaggerate reality and motivate yourself for the false prospect.
Mm.
Like a poor man wake up and say, you know what, I'm a king today. Let me believe that I'm a billionaire. I'm a Bill Gates, let me walk around like a person who can afford everything. Yeah, you might self-motivate yourself, but you're crazy. But if you wake up and say, well, I might not have anything to eat, but by God's grace, even the birds, insects, they get supply. That was Srivasa Thakura's answer. Because when Srivasa Thakura was asked by Mahaprabhu, how do you maintain your family? Srivasa, you're not going to work, you're not having any assets. How do you live your life? And he clapped 3 times in the hand. He said, if after 3 days food is not coming to me, I'll just drown myself in Ganga. And Mahaprabhu said, no, stop. I can tell you one thing, Srivasa. Devotee like you, even Lakshmi Devi, if she needs to go begging, she will go begging for you. Means, if there's my pure devotee, Krishna say, I completely maintain my pure devotee. And I'm not a pure devotee, but I experience everything we want to do for service, always been fulfilled by Krishna. When I had my own personal illusions or delusions, some of my personal plans fell apart, but everything was connected with like spiritual things I envisioned to do, all work through. So even I understood certain things in my life. Okay, when I go to that way, everything's successful. When I start going towards my ego, my false perception, things falling apart. That's just Krishna showed me look, you can have your own plan or you can follow my plan. And, that's the big difference. So we need to understand what's Krishna's will. That's why I say to many people, they tell me, oh, we want this, we want that. I said, that's your plan. Let's see what Krishna's plan. If, I notice certain things in my life, just give you an idea. One time we had real problem in Ukraine, Kiev. We bought one building for temple, but it was mess. The neighbor was minister of construction, very powerful man. He didn't want next to him Krishna temple. He could, the building we bought had very bad papers. It was disaster. And I was so depressed and think, well, I'm trying to make some center in Kiev, but it looks like it doesn't work. Then, I did some tricks. I invite Swami Maharaj Bhakti Lalita devotees to see the building so the neighbor understands it's international spiritual organization, because he was a very powerful man, minister. And he used to make a day $50,000 on bribe every day. It's okay, you're making a couple $100,000 bribes. Ukraine, very corrupt country like Russia. So it means he doesn't need money. He don't need next to him Hare Krishna temple, and he can make you any possible trouble you have. And I said, one day I said to ladies, I said, let's drive by our building. I feel feel something. So we drove by, we saw our building been burned. So he even burned our building because that would be easy for him to totally discharge us. And I said, well, we're trying to do temple for Krishna, and this, crazy guy, neighbor. And one lady devotee, she said, don't worry, Maharaj, I go kick his ass. So that lady, she was very experienced. So she went to him, to his home, and she said, look, we know what you've done. And by the way, right after he's burned our building, he lost his job the next week. Although he was a very powerful man. That's how Krishna works. Then he wants to be restored in his office because he was politician. It's very it's like a money-making machine and very powerful. but he lost it by Krishna. Then this lady came to him and she said, you know, tomorrow we're going to have all the media, all the Hare Krishnas with posters, thousands of people telling you're a corrupt guy, you this, that, you never restore your job. He was so scared. He said, okay, I want to buy that building from you. See, it was a powerful man, big ego, but Krishna put him in this situation. So he bought like twice expensive. That was good news. But then when he buy that building and give us cash, that lady went to the bank and the bank had some foreclosure properties, means they need to liquidate. And the bank offered her much better building, which is already, you know, they spent like $500,000 just to build it. The real price is even much more, but they couldn't complete, they just built it, but they, you know, they couldn't do anything. Everything is there, like electricity, rooms, everything. That's the building we have right now. So because we had cash immediately, we could, you know, make a cash deal because the bank said it's a $500,000 building. How much cash you have? And we said, well, we only have half price. I said, okay, give it to us. So basically, then I can understand. All right, I'm just giving you some idea that from like 0 point, we got into our own center in Kiev. And that center is still working, and that center devotees living, and that center, you know, devotees staying. And it's a wonderful property, you know. And again, to that lady, there was another property coming up. And I said, well, if we can sell that one and buy that one, that will be even more auspicious. Maybe that will happen. We don't know. That's another story. But I understood. So when Krishna's will something, things happens like this, like magic. Because I couldn't do anything. I just complained to Krishna. Okay, I try so hard. And I tried for many years. It wasn't like me trying, like, you know, I've been preaching in Ukraine for 20 years. And I tried to get temples. It took me 20 years. Festivals, people, supporters. But, you know, after 20 years of trying, Krishna fulfilled desire and fulfill in the moment. That's what I believe. So if you have desire and Krishna see your desire is legitimate and it's backed up by people and resources, because it was not just my idea to build the temple in Ukraine. It was necessity and needs of devotees to do that. And Krishna fulfilled that desire very quickly. So what I believe, if you're ready for something real, Krishna will fulfill that. But the question is this real or not? That might take 20 years. You know what I'm trying to say? So whether you're using Stanislavski or Chekhov, it's all been tested by time. So Govinda Maharaj used to say, wait and see. You wait and you will see. About yourself, about others. So like, we need to pass exam by time. Time is important. And time is Krishna. So the Krishna knows how sincere we are and what is that we want. And then if Krishna thinks this will be beneficial, he will fulfill that. Otherwise, you can just become a lunatic, Hare Krishna dreamer, a guy with good, you know, ideas and, you know, talk about things. And there's a bunch of devotees like that. They're walking around with their delusion. And they're like, in Russia, we could call them cosmonauts, devotee, like astronauts. Cosmonauts means like, yeah, they're in another space. So they may be talking about spiritual things and reptiloids and Bhagavat and Krishna and Vimanas and, you know, everything in their brain mixed together, but they're not like real devotees serving Krishna on the ground. They're just the guys, talkers. And normally they don't do any real service. You know, they come to program, they eat prasad, they like chanting, but they go. But real person, he will come, hey, how can I help? Can I wash dishes? Can I do this? Can I give donation? Can I be part of that? So that's the real devotee. So, and this wonderful program, I think we already went over 1 hour. I don't want to hold everybody longer than that because, you know, we can speak forever, but I also have to give Russian class after 20, 30 minutes. There's also a bunch of devotees guests here. I need to give them some attention. So, and after that, we're supposed to be driving to desert of Joshua Tree to Bhakti Fest. This year, we don't have any big setup there because we don't have resources. Normally, we would go there with domes and devotees and have our kirtan program. This year, unfortunately, we didn't go to Burning Man. We're not going to Bhakti Fest full-fledged, but I'm going to meet organizers. I'm going to hang out there, meet some people. Mainly, most people who there is sahajiyas. Like they're just like this chant music and yoga, but there's also devotees. But you know, people like certain spiritual music, they like health and wellness, and that's what pay. So that's why, you know, it's not a free event. The organizers charging. Of course, they let us for free, and of course, we can meet some of the devotees there. But it's not like Bhakti Fest, it's all about Bhakti. Mainly it's about mental wellness, yoga, nice kirtan, you know, like great singers like Krishna Das and like, you know, women of the 40 listening nice music and enjoying and, you know, do their straight back seating and, you know, do their health. You know, that's what excites people in this world. They want to be healthy and wealthy and mentally strong. But you know, Krishna consciousness is it's not what it is. So you know what we can do is we can share even with this kind of crowd, and you know, because everybody's looking, everybody's seeking. And unfortunately this year, you know, we didn't do anything substantial, but we do have full house of devotees, Bhakti Lalita here. There's some devotees came from here and there. So we're kind of okay. Not a big program, but we're going on. And I see like wonderful place like Govinda Land, beautiful temple in Ukraine, Abkhazia, other places. So we're going on, you know, sometimes we have big festivals, sometimes we have small festival. We're going to have our Abkhazia Radashmi festival in Abkhazia, which is a very beautiful place. Unfortunately, Russia become a closed country, but if you go to that place, it's a mystical places like California, Black Sea, mountains, caves, you know, really mystical place, Abkhazia, where we have ashram and agricultural community. It's like middle of nowhere. People don't even know what it is, but it's like a gem. It's like paradise. And there we're going to have a little Vaishnava festival with Hrishikesh Maharaj, Vijayaraman Prabhu, Mahavir Maharaj, Makachur Prabhu, some other devotees. And, you know, we're going to go to mountains. We're going to go here, there. It's a very wonderful festival. Not a big deal. It's not a big music, not a big setup. You know, in Moscow, Petersburg, you know, we do a little bit more for public. This is more like for devotees to come, share. But it's a very sweet festival. There'll be 50, 60 people getting together. Then we're going to visit devotees' farms. They have their farms. There's many vegetables and fruits. We're going to have some local vegetables and fruits. You know, it's going to be wonderful. So simple, wonderful, nothing external. That's how you do it. They also have similar type of festival in Italy. Sometimes just devotees get together, eat, chant, and share their hearts. That's the highest. So as you see, sometimes you go big and public, sometimes you go small and real. Both of them beneficial. All right, so I love you all, my well-wishers, and by your grace, I have opportunity to serve Srila Govinda Maharaj and continue my spiritual life. It's very difficult to continue spiritual life without goodwill, blessings, and support. We spoke today about how important the goodwill of Vaishnavas, even for some sage like Prahlada Maharaj, what to speak about us. And let's pray to Guru Maharaj and Gurudev that we continue our, you know, spiritual journey. My Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj. And we appreciate that Doyle Nitadas in the end had some question. We offer him the next meeting. We start from his
Oh,
question.
if he has a question, I'm ready to answer now. I just
Yeah.
thought he.
Dandavas Maharaj. I was reading about Guru Maharaj talking about confidence in the Lord's protection. And Guru Maharaj was saying, you know, it's one of the main pillars of surrender, expecting that the Lord will give us protection and praying for the Lord's protection. But isn't it somewhat of a selfish thing, a selfish desire to want the Lord to protect us, to pray for the Lord's protection?
Well, it's a very good question, very deep question. Remember, when Krishna and coward boys were playing together, they saw demon Agasura. Aga means sin. And Agasura wants to swallow them all. So Agasura pretends as a big snake with open mouth like a mountain. And some coward boys said, well, this is an interesting cave. We never seen it before. Let's go play in a cave. And somebody say, I don't have a big good feeling about that cave. It appeared to me like a giant snake. Somebody say, come on, guys, Krishna with us, what to fear? Let's go play and we'll see it. So, and that's how they enter the womb of Aga through his mouth. So there's a scene which will swallow us if we will not take refuge in Krishna. And refuge in Krishna means faith that Krishna will protect us. So when you are trying to exploit Krishna protection without taking refuge, yes, that's superficial. But if you surrender to Krishna and allow Krishna to use you, means your body, mind, and words become property of Krishna. Remember, Sanatana Goswami wants to commit suicide. What did Mahaprabhu said to him? He said, your body belongs to me. Like you can't, don't think like if you just committing suicide, you can like, don't think like if you die, you see God. It's stupidity. When you die, you see Yamaraj, Lord of Death. You don't see God. Yeah, Yamaraj is representative, but that's not like you will see the God just dying. He said, your body is mine. Means like you belong to me. And I need you to do my service. If we wouldn't have 6 Goswamis, we wouldn't have our Sampradaya so amazing. So it's not Mahaprabhu. He gave them service. Or like, let's put this way, if Prabhupada would not come to Western world, we would just have a bunch of New Age people, you know, maybe they will get together, chant Hare Krishna, Om Namo Shivaya, do their bullshit and go home. But because Prabhupada came and he established what is pure devotion, what is surrender, what is service in the Western world. Eastern, you know, India is another story. It's been already established there for thousands of years. But in the Western world, Prabhupada came and he showed what is pure devotion. If you wouldn't show pure devotion, you would have all these bullshit yogis and gurus coming to Bhakti Fest and telling some, insignificant things to make them significant, and people would believe, oh, this guy has so much knowledge. I don't want to criticize anybody, but if you really look at this YouTube, called Sadhguru, it's just a guy who tells you everything about everything. Oh, how you properly drink water, how you properly do this, properly do that, and some of the good advice actually coming from scriptures. But he's not telling you a word about Krishna consciousness, surrender, become a devotee, right? No word of it. It's all bullshit about, to impress you, how much knowledge he has. But you know what? Scriptures has millions of things, millions and billions of good advices. But, if you really look at Bhagavad Gita, that's like, why do we expect Bhagavad Gita? So this guy, he doesn't accept Bhagavad Gita. It's an interesting, this big guru with a beard, he said, I don't really accept Bhagavad Gita. And one ISKCON guy, Russian guy, made a video where he said, like, you stupid, and explain what Krishna means in Bhagavad Gita. So think of this, one simple, sincere devotee, just like you and I, challenged that Jagat Guru within just one sloka. And that was on YouTube. And everybody had the brain understood, yes, is such a good guru, but he's a play thing. Oh, Bhagavad Gita, it's not so. I'm not really accepting that. I don't really know who Krishna is. Then what the hell, you guru? You're just, juggler of the words. That's why, we need to surrender and real. So remember, Prahlada Maharaj, what is his concern? He say, I don't have any real service. So Prahlada Maharaj, who think about Krishna, who read, I'm just giving joke. Consider Prahlada Maharaj, doing things, reading Guru Maharaj's books, chanting holy name, but he doesn't have any real service. So what we need to do is discover real service. Like, for instance, Nadia, her real service right now to, put together Zooms and groups. That's a real service. She might chant and read, but she say, okay, that's what I do for myself. But what is my real service for Vaishnavas and community? It's very important to be connected with some real service. Or, Pavel, he's a stage director. He's an artistic person, very intellectual, elder person. But, he's, okay, Avadhut Maharaj told me, like, play games, because, people like to play games with smart people. Then he comes to our temple and plays spiritual games. That means I'm preparing him for, like, preaching. See, because he think like, oh, I just like to read books. No, it's not enough. Like, it's not what, like, if Krishna give you brain, it's not just for read the books. If Krishna give you brain to, like, preach what's in the books. But first you read it. So first you suck information. It has to hit your heart. Then when you surrender to Guru Krishna Vaishnava, you tell your Guru, like, what do you want me to do? And your Guru will tell you, hey, you know what? With your conditions, I want you to preach. You may not, like, take sannyas or like travel all over the world. Maybe you will, but my point is, like, I want you to preach because you have that skills, you have that intellectual capacity. So, it's not just, oh, I read my books, I feel great, I stay in my little world. And, no, that's not what Krishna consciousness is. One day you might have to share with others. And then you'll find deepest satisfaction in your heart. So the only type Prabhu, it's a good question. Keep your thinking and try to connect with some substantial service, however small it is. It should be some missionary service, and that will lead you towards understanding. Rakshishya titi vishvaso, anukulyasi sankalpach, pratikuli vivarjanam, goptitve varanam tatha, atmanikshepa karpanyam, shadvidha sharanagati. So Rakshishya vishvaso means, Rakshashiti means Raksha, Krishna, to take refuge in Krishna. Just like Agasura. The boys, they said, whether it's demon or cave, we don't care, Krishna with us. Let's go play and we'll see what's going to happen. We're confident Krishna will support us. So then Aga was slain by, Aga means seen. Aga has, like Vaishnava acharyas explain, like each demon has many meanings. So Vishwanath Chakravarti and Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained each demon represents sins. Remember, normally we get swallowed by sins. The snake of sinful activities will swallow us and will drown us in the material world. But if we take refuge of Krishna, Krishna has so much power, he will destroy that demon. Although demon look like a gigantic mountain, you cannot do anything with them. What Krishna done, he destroyed the demon from inside. So just like world of karma is so great, so big, but what Krishna name, Krishna consciousness, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It will destroy from inside. So sins cannot be destroyed outside, but Krishna will enter with you, with the soul. Remember, we enter this world with Krishna in our heart, and Krishna within our heart will destroy the sin. That's his power. But we need to believe in that. All right, from now on, Dayal Prabhu, thank you for your wonderful question. It's very deep, very substantial. I might be answered partially because there's more time to talk about this very big topic, surrender. And, it will all come when it's real, step by step. We have to hear about Krishna, build our relationship with devotees, then it will become substantial. My Dandavat Pranam to everyone, and within some time I will go to Russian Zoom, within maybe 20 minutes.
Dandavat Pranam Maharaj, thank you for your extra time.
Dandavats, love you all, my Dandavats.